So let's just put this down here. There we go. So on Sniper Ridge tonight, for all of you, we're gonna have Mr. Cryoc from iFew as the orange Terran at the bottom left location. Oh, wait, there we go. There we go. Don't know why it switched. Okay, and so again, we got Cryoc at the bottom left location, and his opponent, Radek, as the white Terran at the bottom right location. Yeah, I changed it. Okay, so TVT on Sniper Ridge. Now, I have to say that last TVT we saw in here, we saw battle cruisers, we saw drops, we saw an epic stand. I think it was exactly at this position with the last like 20 units. I hope it's not going to be that long, because if it is going to be that long, we're going to be having to skip a game or two down here. I mean, guys, it is Sunday, and I do have to work tomorrow, so I have to be careful with my timing. Now, let's see, however, what these guys are gonna have in store for us, because TVT is definitely one of those games that can go like 5 minutes short or 3 hours long. So, until we see exactly what the openings are, this is going to be relatively uneventful, even with like, I don't know, a 2 or 3 marine poke into your opponent. There's not much to be said about that. Yes, Mind Flare, I know. But it is, after all, a cast of an older TLC. So, another day, like TLC 14 that was 15 that was delayed, was not casted, was then split into 2 parts because the caster was too much of a wuss to actually do it in one day. Yeah, that doesn't sound too good for me. Okay, factory, depot. Oh, depot. Interesting. So it's going to be a shorter factories. And yeah, so Cryoc goes for the faster factory, slowing down his own depot. There we go. And Radek decides to go for the depot first, then the factory. Now the timings aren't that much different. If we look at the factory timings, as you can see, they're actually almost equal. That's also why I was saying that the builds at the beginning of TVT don't matter that much, especially because it's very unlikely that you'll get really hard rushed. And even if you get hard rushed, SCVs actually are relatively good against Marines. They're not too good against Vultures because Vultures can micro around, but what I'm trying to say is that in the early game, it's very difficult to actually catch your opponent off guard. Now, because of this, I have seen some builds that are actually quite interesting, although I'm not really good at TVT, so I'm not sure if they work that well, but I have seen some people gas first, so that they can either start more factories early, or tech, or even upgrades. So, I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it or not. Now, we do see the Cryoc is leaving only 2 SCVs on gas, so I am assuming that this is timed for maybe taking either getting a lot of speed vultures. No, probably not. Yeah, okay, no, speed. So yeah, it may be speed vultures, because usually when you're going tanks and then you still want to get eventually armory, you usually want to have as much gas as possible. Okay, so Radek, wait. Oh, almost. That was a good idea by Radek, pulling the Marines kind of off way so that the SCV would actually try to get in and then trying to catch it. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite fast enough. Cryoc does manage to run away with the SCV. Pretty good move by both players, actually. Okay, we do see armory for Radek on 1 factory with mines. So that would probably suggest that it's going to be a very turtle style. You'd start with some kind of defense, you'd probably try to get your natural expansion. You might want to start your upgrades really early. We'll see if that's the way that he wants to play it, but it does seem like it for now. Now that the early attack with the 4 Marines usually is enough, but with 4 Vultures, if there are 6 of them... Oh, I think he's gonna actually run in. Wait, don't leave the Vulture. Don't leave the Vulture. Bring all of them. No, he's sending 1 at a time. That's That's bad. Why is he attacking the Marines? Go oh, no, no, no. He should have straight gone for the SCVs. With 5 to 6 vultures getting in here, having speed and your opponent not, you'd get... Well, okay, maybe that's why he didn't do that, because he completely messed that up. He could have gotten, like, I don't know, maybe 10 kills? Well controlled? I think it's doable, right? 3 shots of each vulture, so you'd separate into 2 groups. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you could definitely take 10 kills. That was a missed opportunity by Cryoc. I think that basically what he was maybe not planning to do, but what he had the opportunity to do is pretty much get a huge lead in this game. Because of what happened with his vultures, first attacking the Marines, not sending them all together. Whew, damn it. That was a bit sloppy. That was a bit sloppy. Okay, so at the same time, what is Cryoc going for? He did get his own armory, but he's not expanding yet. And as you can see, the +1 for Radek is already like 40%, 30-40% of the way, so I think this might be... This is not definitely not the best start for Cryoc, because he wanted to do more damage with his vultures, especially going for speed first. If you do manage to get like an early lead in SCVs, it doesn't actually snowball so hard as in other matchups, but it definitely gives you a huge lead into especially the third expansion. Because the third expansion is the one that actually takes more difficulty to take. Once you finish your natural and you're kind of defending this position, and then from drops, that's kind of fine. But as soon as you're trying to take a third, then you're starting to spread yourself out, and depending on your positioning, you can get swarmed on one area. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think TVT is probably the coolest matchup of any mirrors, but it depends really what you like. TVT is a lot different, it's a lot of position. PvP, most of the time it's about starting with outthinking your opponent, and then it kind of turns into something kind of strange. And ZDZ is actually really action-packed, so it depends really on what you like. And in terms of the gun sounds, I don't actually remember right now what the what the Marine sounds are in StarCraft 2. I do play it from time to time, but it's not kind of when I'm really relaxing. That's when I go to StarCraft 2. Okay, so the +1 is about to be finished, and Wraiths. Wait, is Cryoc not getting the +1? Ooh, he's getting a third really fast, but not getting +1. I mean, I think that's a huge mistake. +1 did finish, and there's no... Yeah, there's no science facility yet, so okay, Radek is not going to get away with like a massive lead early on. But... And the problem here... Okay, +1 has started, and still no facility. The problem here, the reason why I'm thinking about this, because if the facility was done and the +2 would start before the +1, there would be actually a long time while the units from Radek would be a lot more efficient. So that would have been quite massive. By forgetting that facility, and from Cryoc's perspective, by making +1 so late, it's probably going to get to a point relatively where it's kind of similar. Well, let me put it this way, in StarCraft 2 and StarCraft Brood War, things sound more familiar the game that you play the most. So if you play more Brood War, you're not gonna like StarCraft 2 sounds, and if you play more StarCraft 2, you're not gonna like that much Brood War sounds. It's kind of a just different point of view. I do have to say that if there's one thing that I like more in Brood War than in StarCraft 2, although this is personal preference of course, is it's kind of cleaner to choose your units. And StarCraft 2 I sometimes have the problem of choosing the wrong unit. There's like too many things on the map, you kind of get lost into that. But that's just because maybe I'm colorblind or something. Okay, the gas is taken down in the third by Cryoc, so he will get a definitely lead on the gas. It's most likely a position where Cryoc should really get another armory, because if he does get the chance to double upgrade is going to be a pretty big thing, and especially if you do get into the very late game, you do want to have 2 armories to start the air upgrades before you start tech switching to air. And because so far this game has been so passive that on 10 minutes we had pretty much nothing going on, there is a clear chance to actually do something about going for those upgrades early on, even if they're the air ones. Oh, that mine? Is it? Good connection. And Radek actually manages to even sneak in 1 vulture. Shouldn't do anything. Like, yeah, 1 SCV. Oh, it's actually trying to run around and try to find something else. So, yeah, 1 vulture usually doesn't do much, but it can screw up maybe your gas mining or something like that. So there's always a possibility to find a use for it. Alright, so what about a drop? A drop. Drop ship, only 1 or more? So far only 1. If there are more dropships coming out, then it's going to be quite interesting. If there are not, it's probably what. I was just so what is the hell? What is the dropship gonna do? But okay, it goes back. On the webcam, no comment so far. No comment. We'll talk about that later. It's not yet there. We'll see. There yet there. What? Pretty much the same thing. So we see that Radek is starting to push out. Breaking any position with siege tank, I guess siege tank is always difficult. But there's 3 siege tanks here, 2 connecting to them, blocking them. So there is a chance of running through with some vultures, like laying some mines and then trying to snipe these 2 tanks. But yeah, Radek is not going to do that. He's going to be playing very defensive. And that's gonna be it for now. It's not really mysterious, dude. It's just basically that I might get one. Just it's not the easiest thing in the world to actually get everything done, especially with the streaming thing. It actually increases the amount of information you're sending through the stream by quite a lot if it's a good quality camera. So it doesn't always work. I need to test that. I need to get the camera. It's not that easy. When I do, if I do have it, then I'll get it on. Until then, well. So basically what I'm saying is I haven't made up my mind. Okay. Another base being taken down by Radek, and it seems like he's going to try to contain... He's going to try to contain Cryoc on the small... You can see on the minimap. If we look at the minimap right now, you can see basically this position. Look at the minimap, don't look at the screen or you get some seizure or something. Just basically you can see this position trying to put until here. And I'm assuming that then... on this base you would actually put some turrets or something so that through air they can't get out. But usually the main problem with this kind of style is that it's breakable at many points. You can actually get screwed up by it. Now we do see that Radek is so far aiming relatively well and getting a lot of kills for it. So for now Radek is managing to contain the situation really well, and that trade was actually really amazing for him. He did take not only a lot of the tanks out, but the first time that Cryoc was actually trying to break this position, it was shut down. So at this point, it's going to be... Oh. Okay, that tank is going to fall. Actually, wait, is it? No! See the upgrade difference? The +2? It kills tanks in 2 hits instead of 3. So that's why I really liked that Radek was starting with the +1 so early. A little bit slower on the +2, but still, there is still a difference. Now, with this position now... Here's the squadron of wraiths. I can't make the wraith sound, but you can imagine yourself the wraiths, the wraith sound, right? And the pew pew is definitely unmistakably clear. Oh my, that's not good. You don't want to send the tanks down there. So with that, the container is broken. The 4th can be now claimed by Radek. Sorry, by Cryoc. Okay, so some Goliaths are coming up. They're going to start killing those wraiths that are now blocked, but yeah, scans and whoa, last shot. So wraiths are down, but the container is broken, which is really what was the most important thing for Cryoc. Usually the main problem in TVT when you're trying to contain somebody is how would I call it? when you're trying to contain a turret, you usually spread your units through the entire area. So the problem is, if they take all their units and go through one area, they're gonna blast through. Now, with this ridge thing, that doesn't work that well. Like, blasting through something that is on a high ground, it's even harder than blasting through just a sieged position. But it's still possible to do that. The thing is, there are many ways to actually circumvent this thing, which is one by drops, which seems like it's going to be what Radek is doing himself. That's a bit interesting. I mean, he is still trying to get this contain going, and I think that it's slowly starting to not pay off. At the beginning it was a great position, but trying to re-establish a broken contain, usually Koreans don't do it. If you, well, if you watch Korean streams, there's not that many anymore, but back in the day when turn played against turrets, when one contain line was broken, they would just find another way to move the contain a little bit further. So they wouldn't actually try to retake their location, because the idea of the contain works in two ways. One, you lower the amount of money that the opponent is taking by not allowing them to take more bases. The second point, and this is the more important one actually, is that you always have the siege position before your opponent, which means that they will always be more inefficient in a trade. That's basically the most important part. And the reason that it works that way is because DVT is a matchup that more than once goes so long that most of the bases are mined out. So if you're very, very, very efficient in the trades, even if you split the map in half at the end of the game, you should theoretically take a win. Now, that's of course in theory, and I have to say that foreigners usually don't get to this kind of style of playing TVT. Like, most don't like to go for the late game, because it is not only very difficult and taxing, but it also is, it's actually can wear you down, especially in a tournament that is like this one, which is based on the fact that if you win, you continue playing. You have to remember that Korean tournaments in most cases were like, if you win a game, usually, if you win a match or something like that, you're done for the day, or maybe you just have one more match. But in this case, and these guys might want to play another game after this, so you can see how that might be difficult. That being said, Cryoc is growing up in supply a little bit faster than Radek, and I wonder if that's because, let's see, we have no vultures whatsoever for Radek, and we have 21 vultures for Cryoc. So Cryoc is going to be able to be more mobile, but his army is actually going to be a lot weaker. Now, oh, that's bad. Losing those dropships is going to be really bad. That's going to sting. Now, I assume that the reason why Cryoc is making so many vultures is because he made the raids, and they also cost gas. And vultures do build a lot faster than other units, so that's why you get up in supply so fast. But vultures die extremely fast in TVT. They die to pretty much everything in seconds. So no, it runs at 640 by 480 actually. Okay, yeah, 640 by 480. That's the actual resolution. It's not 800 by 600. Although I have to say that by being actually like this, you know, whereas there's no actual pixels or graphics, it doesn't actually matter that much what resolution it actually is played on. It still looks pretty much the same. Okay, so Cryoc does manage to take pretty much his side of the map. Radek did take his side of the map. So we're in for quite a long TVT probably. Now, at this point, I'm assuming that there are three things to keep our eyes on. One, the positioning of the units. So we see Cryoc is actually gaining ground if you look at the minimap. Just like this. So, for example, this base is completely exposed. The center can be claimed by Cryoc. He can even take this base up here. So Cryoc is getting the positional game. He's winning that one. Now, upgrades for now are much better for Radek, but they might eventually equal up. Oh, is that going to be a break? No, it doesn't look like it. Although these vultures are not going to be doing any damage to the tanks. You see, they do 20. It's very low. Okay. Yeah, I'm streaming at a higher resolution, but that's basically because it's a different thing. It's stream, not the actual resolution of the game. I'm not streaming at a very high bandwidth, I think. It's just about 1.5 megabytes. So, and I have 3, so I left a lot of space just in case. So Cryoc is taking another base. He is really aggressively taking bases, which is, I guess, a very smart idea because he already has 3 starports. He could potentially start to switch to battle cruisers really fast, which would be much better than what he's doing right now, which is just kind of moving around and not really doing that. Yeah, I mean, I know that it adds bandwidth problems when you have webcam. I just don't know how much, so that's something it's impossible to exactly know because it depends on, like, colors and stuff. Just not sure about that, but we'll get to that, if anything. And so Radek is not transitioning to air, I think. He does get... Okay, he is getting some Valkyries to counter the mass Wraith style, which is gonna obliterate 000. So 0-0 versus... So, okay, so far 0-0, but it's still... If Cryoc commits to pure Wraiths, so far he can't, but it seems like he wants to. If Cryoc commits to going purely Wraiths, and he doesn't get a wind of the Valkyries, he can lose the game in, like, I don't know, 2 minutes flat. And the reason why that happens is because once you get the attack upgrade for the Valkyries, and there is no armor upgrades for the Wraiths, it's not even like... Wait, what? Okay, Radek is now switching to his own Wraiths. I thought he wanted to snipe the mass Wraith with a few Valkyries and then maybe just roll over the opponent, but he's also starting to get his own Wraiths, so... Huh, that's not exactly what he's planning to do. Nope. Yeah, and there goes the Valk. Oh, I gotta say, Cryoc is making a lot of headway in this game. A lot. You can see how many shots that took and it's still alive, just because of the upgrades, the disparity. But I still think it's going to be really hard now for Radek, because even if he manages to, like, take out a contain or something, he still has to make the way to break bases from his opponent, and so far it's Cryoc that's actually putting the damage on. Like this base, for example, easy to kill. This base, easy to kill. Just pretty much the entire army of Radek is at his natural, and it's not even that big. It's actually kind of smallish. So, I mean, of course it's a huge army, but not as big as this one. Ooh. Okay, so where is going to go this army? That's the question. Scan. You wanna scan? You wanna scan up here? Yeah, it's a bit too late. But the trade should be relatively equal here. And after that, there's this. So that base is gonna go down. The SCVs are gonna go down, and or will they? Actually, oh, see the armor? That armor upgrade actually made that tank last like forever until the mines were down. But yeah, okay, and now the Wraiths. Okay, there are the Wraiths from Radek. So Wraith for Wraith. Oh, is he gonna try to get it? Yeah. Okay, so now Radek manages to break through, and he manages to actually take the center. If he's still taking some damage, that's probably gonna... Okay, that's fine. And here's the thing. These bases are now separated. There are Wraiths down up here, which are actually slightly upgraded, not perfectly, but slightly. This tank line is probably going to at least slow this down. Yeah, okay, so it's going to just slow it down. But basically, tanks are going to go down, and with the tanks down, with the fact that actually these Wraiths are starting to be a problem, let's see if there are more Wraiths coming down for... Yeah, so Cryoc is also rebuilding his own Wraiths, and I'm assuming once he has like a pretty big fleet, he's going to try to make something with it. And we see turrets going down at this base. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, Wraiths do actually do terrible against anything that shoots up. So, yeah. Okay, so this game is still gonna go on for quite a while, guys. So let's see. We've got few money, not too much money left here. We've got these bases. This base is going to be taken back by Radek. So it's a pretty clear map split scenario. See, this area can be taken by Cryoc whenever he wants to. This area has been taken by Radek. It's basically going to be the center that both of the players are going to have to fight against. Fight for. Now, apart from that, I mean, both players, I think it's kind of starting to look, I don't know if you realize this, guys, but the map is starting to look cleaner and cleaner. There is less stuff on the map. The reason why this is because both players have been trading some units, and their incomes aren't that massive. Like, they're good, but they're not massive. It's 50-50, 56-60. So the amount of SCVs is not that huge. And because of that, it does take some time to rebuild these armies. And because of the fact that they take some time, they're trading blows, but they're not actually doing devastating damage yet. Now, that being said, I think these two bases might fall now, because there's nothing really to go there and to save it. So one CC and this CC. If these two, this one and this one, if these two CCs go down, then I think that's basically just the Cryoc wins. But I've said that before. I've seen that. Like I thought actually that Cryoc. Oh, so Radek actually just realizes that it's going to be too much anyway. Well, I mean, I don't disagree with him. It was a difficult situation to be in. So, alright. Cryoc is gonna take that. Not bad, not bad. Alright, let's get ourselves another game.